But what do you believe if you're a Trinitarian? Well, you believe that Jesus is God. Initially, that strikes the mind as odd, because if Jesus is God, and everybody agrees the Father is God, how many gods is that? Two. That's a problem. And the church knows well that that was a problem that they struggled with. So with that in mind, here's what you believe if you're a Trinitarian. Now, the Christian doctrine, I'm reading from the Standard Authority, What Think Ye of Christ? The Christian doctrine, the incarnation, capital I, that means that a God the Son, second person of an eternal Trinity, assumed human nature, you got it? He dressed himself up in human nature, but he existed as God the Son eternally. This is what they believe, the capital I, incarnation. That in Christ, the place of a human personality is replaced by the divine personality of God. This is only your friends, only millions, billions of people out there, faithful churchgoers, Sunday by Sunday. Christ possesses, this is what it entails, this is what it means. Christ possesses a complete human nature without a human personality. That's the theory. You see the logic of that, don't you? Listen, if you've got a God the Son who is a personality, and you add it to another personality, what have you got? Two personalities. That would be blatantly difficult, wouldn't it? Jesus would be double personality. So they veil that by saying, no, the personality of Jesus is essentially God the Son, but he assumed a human nature. And your brain goes into a fog even thinking about that, because the whole language is foreign to you. But this is what those people believe. The incarnation, if it is a reality, if it really means the Word, capital Word, made flesh, cannot mean anything else other than the fact that the human personality was replaced by the God personality. The eternal Word, capital W, eternal God the Son, has taken to himself, joined to himself, a human body and a human soul, but not a human personality. All right, before closing this subject, let me shock you a little bit further. An easy to read version, ERV, which is 1 John chapter 4 verse 1, where John the Apostle gives us a test now to see whether people are speaking the truth or not. My dear friends, many false prophets are in the world now. So don't believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see if they're from God. That's to say, the people whose spirits are speaking, test them. This is how you can recognize God's Spirit. Ta-da! Is this difficult? This is how you can recognize God's Spirit. One spirit said, I believe that Jesus is the Messiah who came to earth and became a man. What? Came to earth and became a man? I don't think so. The Greek says that the true Christ is the one who came in sarki, in the frame of human beingness, if you like. Being a human, really. The human historical Jesus. Sarx is humanity, as in all flesh would not be saved unless God intervened. Flesh is human being, human being, human being, human being. And this translation has the gall to write the Trinitarian creed into here. Came to earth and became a man. Now, Jesus didn't become a man, he was a man. This is only the difference between truth and error. We're not talking, highfalutin, irrelevant. It's a sort of a Jesus described by the fact that he came as human, en sarki. It's not just the fact that that's more or less the same, but it's slightly different. It's a kind of a Jesus defined by the fact that he came within the frame of human being. Coming is simply showing up on the human scene. Everybody comes. John the Baptist came. He showed up on the human scene. Jesus showed up on the human scene. En sarki, within the frame of human being. He was a human being, historical human being. Now we read on. Now another spirit refuses to say this about Jesus. Well, that then condemns all of us. Because I certainly do refuse to say that Jesus was a God the Son who became a man. I refuse to say that. So now we're condemned by this translation. That spirit is not from God. This is the spirit of the enemy of Christ, the Antichrist, the enemy. You've heard that spirit, the enemy of Christ, is coming, and now it or he is already in the world. So our doctrine there is flat out condemned. Final point would be this. What John wrote here was simply this. Test the spirit to see if that spirit originates in the one God. The spirit that says that Jesus showed up on the human scene, a human being, that Jesus is from God. Now the next verse, note carefully, he who does not confess that Jesus, you got it? The one I just described. So we're not just talking about a fact that Jesus came as a human being, we're talking about one Jesus as opposed to another Jesus. The devil is smart. He doesn't come and say Jesus doesn't exist. He could say that too, but that's not what Maniac does. He said, I believe in Jesus. It just doesn't happen to be the human historical Jesus. So you see what's going on here. You got the point? Now this is important for your friends to understand. They don't understand it. Tell your friends then, where is the human personality of Jesus? Because officially, your church doesn't believe that Jesus had a human personality. He had a generic humanness about him. Something we all share. We're all human. But he didn't have an individual human personality. If he did, that would make two personalities, because he's really God the Son, and that's the personality. See, if you don't believe in the virginal begetting, we might call it, the miracle of God procreating, not by sexual activity, evidently, but by miracle, by biological miracle, creating a new human being in Mary, then you've thrown away the basis of the faith, and everything becomes a hopeless argument. Because obviously Luke, who was a doctor and historian, describes a miraculous biological miracle. That's perfectly obvious. So you don't want to disturb that framework. It creates confusion.